Hello my dear friends, welcome back to another Star Wars video. So, a bit of an unprecedented one. The next Star Wars animated show was announced out of the blue. Tales of the Underworld, the next Tales of anthology, 6 episodes, dropping on May the 4th. And it's really funny because just a couple of days ago, I asked the question at the start of my news update, are we gonna get anything on May the 4th? The answer is yes, my dear friends, and it sees the return of Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane. If you guys remember, we were wondering how in the world did Asajj Ventress survive the events of Dark Disciple. The novel implied some Night Sister magic, and according to Nika Futterman, we were gonna find out very soon. We knew her return wasn't just for a cameo in the Bad Batch, and here it is, my dear friends, Tales of the Underworld. Now before we get into the breakdown, 2 things to note. Number 1, Lucasfilm is mysteriously making announcements before Star Wars Celebration. I was really surprised. They're blowing their surprises early, and some fans theorize the reason for this is because they're going to announce something much bigger at Celebration. Yeah, sure, maybe, fingers crossed. But considering we were told animation is going to take center stage in Japan, this seems, well, very premature. Nonetheless, it's exciting, and we have some returning characters we need to talk about. And the second point I want to make is it appears as though the leak for Star Wars Celebration which appeared on Reddit is mostly BS, but maybe there was a tiny tinge of truth. They said there is going to be an Underworld series announced at Celebration. They got the name wrong though. They said Star Wars Underworld's plural, and they said it was going to be flagship, full length, not Tales of. Maybe their source got their wires crossed, but here we are guys. Tales of the Underworld, and it's going to feature Asajj Ventress and Cad Bane during the Dark Times. There has been confusion, fans saying is this after Book of Boba Fett? No, this is years before that. And both characters have to face people from their past. The creator and supervising director is Dave Filoni. He's also a producer, so this is very much Dave's vision. And they say Lady Asajj Ventress and her yellow lightsaber are back, alongside the infamous, quick-draw Cad Bane in a new anthology series for Disney+. The third installment of the Tales anthology after Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire. Let's start with Asajj Ventress. In the show, she's a mercenary, given a new chance at life, and described as a dangerous bounty hunter for everyone she comes across. And as the former apprentice of Dooku, she invokes his name to instill fear in those who underestimate her. And she seems to come across a young Force user, and StarWars.com has confirmed the kid is a Padawan who survived Order 66. They say a young Padawan grapples with life after the Great Jedi Purge. And as we suspected, is Asajj Ventress going to be sympathetic towards the Jedi? Are they going to have a master and apprentice type relationship? And is Asajj Ventress going to help them escape to the Jedi path? I think the answer is yes. And where's Quinlan Vos? Is this series going to be self-contained, or does it have implications that have overlaps with Jedi Fallen Order, The Kenobi Show, and other stories during this time? Did you notice they've given us a brand new Inquisitor who Ventress has to fight? The Empire knows of her presence. I don't know if it's going to remain at the Inquisitorius level, but considering Palpatine knows who she is, and her connections to the deceased Dooku, this could spell a recipe for disaster. The Empire might go above and beyond to take her out. If Quinlan Vos is still in touch with her, if he's still with her, then maybe she'll escape. And something very exciting about Tales of the Underworld, if it's going to show us how Asajj Ventress survived, it means for both characters, both Asajj and Cad Bane, we might see some flashbacks, which means they might show us the deleted arc of the Clone Wars, where Cad Bane fights Boba Fett, decades before their final encounter in Book of Boba Fett. And I should point out, the character design for Cad Bane is rather unique. Very different to his design in the Clone Wars and the Bad Batch. I guess they wanted to separate the vibe of this show. Another familiar face returning is Latz Razzie, the Thelan bounty hunter who first appeared in the Clone Wars' 4th season. I have to admit though, with Asajj Ventress, I think I would have preferred her return in long series format, unless they're able to pull off everything they need to with 3 of the 6 episodes. We don't really know if this is going to be the full extent of her return. This might feed into something greater. I'm not saying this to come across as negative or to be pissy, but I'm just being honest. We don't know at this stage, it might be premature to say this, as premature as dropping this on April the 2nd, by the way, but I'm hoping Asajj's return does lead to something greater. Some of the rumours, some of the rumblings we've heard behind the scenes do suggest this might connect to something with Crimson Dawn and Darth Maul, in between Solo and Star Wars Rebels. Fingers crossed, that'd be amazing. With Asajj's ties to Dathomir, her survival, continuing the Clone Wars legacy, you never know. So something I noticed is that Cad Bane is facing off against an old foe who is also a Duros, and he says he's out for revenge. What did this guy do to Cad Bane? They keep showing the other guy's wife and kid. Could you imagine if that's Cad Bane's son and his ex? That would be an insane humanization and a very different motive for someone like Cad Bane. Lucasfilm animation doesn't miss. I'm really excited, I am, but I'm also a bit worried. I mean, sure, it's a flashy, good-looking trailer with some awesome action sequences teased, but is it going to deliver? Because everyone seemed excited for Tales of the Empire, and then there were some fantastic moments, but to some extent it was a wasted opportunity. I really hope they don't waste Asajj. My focus and excitement is with Ventress, because while I love Cad Bane and think he's a very exciting character, he's been in so much recent content. There's less of a risk with whatever they decide to do with his story. At least in my mind, Asajj Ventress is the big one. For a trailer like this, it's very space western. I love the way it opens. It kind of reminds me of The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and also some Book of Boba Fett. Cad Bane's entrance in From the Desert Comes a Stranger.
Whatever Fett is paying you, we'll match.
I will just say though, when it comes to the key art and the posters, this one is awesome. Similar to Tales of the Jedi, which gave us one side Dooku, one side Ahsoka, they've gone for the duality once more, this time with Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress, and they're leaning into the importance of these other Duros in Cad Bane's life from his past. So flashbacks maybe to his childhood, maybe to other periods of his past that we haven't seen, could be amazing. Who is the person he's got a personal vendetta against? And that's the key word, personal vendetta. And then on the right hand side, Asajj Ventress, some Dathomirian imagery, the survivor of Order 66, the return of Lats, a better look at this Inquisitor, and because she mentioned Count Dooku and I'm seeing these two, I'm thinking kind of similar to what they did in the Bad Batch, she might go to Sereno, Dooku's home world. Following his death, is she after his treasure? So those are some of my initial thoughts, and it also means that maybe Tales of the Bounty Hunters, which was the original rumour, is actually Tales of the Underworld. And it makes me think about some of the other rumours, like Tales of the Sith, Tales of the Clones. Are they going to come later in the year? Or maybe next year? And are they going to announce at Star Wars Celebration the next long form, because these are shorts, animated show? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, my dear friends. Are you excited? How do you feel about this news? If you enjoyed this breakdown, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and I just want to finish by urging you to go and check out the video I posted earlier today. I know it's very different, but a big update concerning Rey. But please also check me out on socials, the link to my Patreon is down below, and I'll see you in the next video. May the Force be with you, always.